Welcome back to Access Point Podcast. Today we're talking about in-person school, but first we have a couple guests. Mr. Allen, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Mr. Allen, Alexander Allen. I'm a math teacher at Monte Vista High School.
Yeah. Fun fact, all three of us are in his stats class. He's awesome, great teacher. I was in his AP Calc BC class last year. It was awesome. Also, Tim, what about you?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Timothy. I'm a 12th grader, and as you said, am in his stats class and calc class this year.
Awesome. Right.
Yeah, okay. Also, I feel like we should point out that Essen is not here today, so
Oh,
Caden
that's
will be
right.
our co-host.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Eston is busy. He's, I think, debating for Columbia, I think it is today, which is pretty cool. So he will not be joining us. If you don't remember, I'm Caden. I produce this podcast, but here today I am standing in for Eston. So, hi, everyone.
Hello. All right then.
Aiden.
For the drink of the day, I would like to go first. Sorry,
please
I have something that is so cool. It's pretty cool. Okay, so I brought a banana to school today, and I didn't end up eating it. So I made banana milk, and I have a fig garnish. Um, the garnish is pretty cool. You can't taste it, but every time you go in to take a sip, like you get your nose right next to it, so there's like a floral scent that comes in. I think that's pretty cool. Kaden?
Um, I have my water bottle from work because, I just yell at kids for like 3 hours. So I lose my voice easily. So, water always.
That was on two very different sides of the spectrum. A like
I
okay.
I coach swim, right? So you gotta yell over the sound of the gutter.
Yeah.
And so that's why. Well, okay, maybe I do enjoy yelling at kids just a little bit, just a little.
He posts about losing his voice pretty often, so you gotta keep the vocal cords looped up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
My wife always reminds me to do my vocal warm-ups in the morning, but I only remember about one out of every 5 or 6 days.
Yeah,
And so I
one out of
also
every 5 or 6 is still pretty good, I'd say.
I feel
yeah,
like that's
but
one more than average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or at least like 0.9 more than average. Um,
Got me there. Okay.
yeah, but
Mhm.
not enough to effectively prevent me from losing my voice. But that's okay.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking a fizzy water, Spindrift. I've kind of been, like many people, going through many sparkling waters from various locations to see. I think I like this brand. This is the third or fourth one I've tried, the Orange Mango,
Mm.
and it has real fruit, or it actually is a different color. Most fizzy waters are just still water colored, and this one has an orangey tint, which makes me believe absolutely nothing, but I like it.
Oh, okay. Still full of lies.
We're
I
also not
guess.
sponsored, but if you'd like to sponsor a Spindrift or any other uh fizzy water
Or
company,
none.
please, yeah, non-fizzy water company, that works too. Actually, any company, we love it. We love to work
If
with
you
you.
want to
Please
give
reach
us
out.
money, we'll take it.
That's
Okay?
true.
No
I mean,
questions.
maybe not any company,
Okay.
you can, not as a blanket statement, but yeah.
Yeah, please just reach out. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. Tim?
Yeah.
So I have a drink that's called water, and
Okay.
the thing about water is that it's actually very good for you.
Oh,
That's why I have it here.
nice. All
That's
right.
awesome. All right.
Incredible, really.
May I ask how old the water is? Only because I sometimes have like last night's water on my nightstand.
Yeah, this is actually the one from last night, and the one from 2 nights ago is over there
Well,
See?
on my
and
table.
you don't
Yeah,
like, you
I have a
don't even drink
stockpile of
them
cups.
all? They just like they're just still full and you don't drink them?
Yeah, because I come upstairs at the end of the day,
Hmm.
thinking I'm gonna drink this last bit of water before I go to bed in case maybe I stay up on Thursday. I don't want to go downstairs,
Uh,
and then obviously I don't drink any. So at the end of the week, I have about 4 to 5 cups. I just bring down my little stash. So
the cupboard
this
is
is
just like slowly dwindling. There's no
yeah,
cups left.
yeah.
Yeah, in case of a fire, though, you're totally good. Like you're covered.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
just throw your water cups at it. But
Or-
only on Fridays.
An Alien Attack, which is a reference to the movie Signs, which absolutely came out before any of you were born, or maybe when you were very, very young. And I'm just going to leave it there. You now have to watch
Well,
this.
now I have to watch
tiny-
the movie.
It's an M. Night Shyamalan classic.
Oh, Shyamalan. Interesting.
It was like a second or
Already.
third one.
Yeah, really?
Oh, it was very close to Sixth Sense. So
Hmm.
I'd say early 2000s, but I'll just leave that there.
All right. Oh, kind of wish I got that reference.
Not sponsored by M. Night Shyamalan.
Right, that too.
Or Paramount, also not sponsored by Cups.
We're not
Hmm.
sponsored by anyone, unfortunately.
Yet.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah.
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 All right. So, we're talking about going back to school, in person, obviously. Personally, has not been great. My stress levels are so much higher than last year, which may be attributed to college applications, but I have noticed I am cracking my knuckles way too often now. So,
Interesting. Let's see. I'd say for myself, I didn't do too great in school last year. I kind of struggled in online learning. So it's been nice to be in the classroom. Though it does get kind of scary with some people. What about you, Tim?
Yeah. Personally, I didn't really think online class that last year was that bad because every time there's a passing period, I would just I don't know, eat another snack and another one, and then like the cups, all the trash bags and all the wrappers would just stockpile in my trash can, and it'd be like my little pride and joy at the end of the day, my little trash monster that I have to get rid of. But it was
I
nice
think
not
of
all
it
that.
as a nest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So something
That's
lives
fair.
in it.
yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
some
yeah.
ants occasionally, but it's okay. They'll die.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was morbid. Okay. Uh, Mr. Allen, how do you feel going back to school?
Good. I was certainly very hesitant pre-vaccination, and then Delta has made things interesting. But overall, it's just nice to be back. I think online learning was fine. I didn't love it, but it worked better than I expected it to. But I just miss being back, in the classroom with students and everyone. And I didn't really realize how much I had missed it until that first week. And it's been very nice to be back.
So did you not come back to school to teach like any in-person
I
classes?
didn't. I certainly expected to,
Mhm.
but the way that because students came back in the spring, and then many students also wanted to stay home, so they were shifting teachers around, and most teachers came back, but depending on what classes you taught and how those students wanted to do their learning, I just happened to be one that did not.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I mean,
I noticed you brought something back from online learning though. You still use Zoom meetings to do the whiteboard instead of using the physical whiteboard. Have you always been doing that?
Well, now the last week and a half, I've actually kind of bounced back and forth between the physical whiteboard and the Zoom whiteboard. I was very not technology resistant. I just like the whiteboard and um, enjoy having that in front of me. The Zoom whiteboard is nice, and that's an infinite resource of screen, especially for the stats class. It's nice bouncing back between the electronic calculator and the Zoom. I think it's actually calculus. I'm doing a lot more of the big whiteboard and probably less in stat because I use the technology more. But yeah, between the Go Formative platform and just the Zoom whiteboard, definitely some good tech pieces that I've carried over from Zoom last year.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I just appreciate how we can take notes now without having to ask the teacher to like stand aside so we can see the board.
Yeah, there's definite. I think with calculus, some of the problems, especially in integration, they're too long. So that if I was to do a problem, it would take multiple Zoom whiteboards. And in general, I've had a lot of, Mr. Allen, can you go back to a slide earlier? And that happens less on a whiteboard. Um, but yes, there definitely is an advantage. There's an advantage to both.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just my mood. I want to be standing up. I don't want to be sitting in my little corner. So I use the regular whiteboard.
I mean, okay, wait. I've wanted to know, do you guys like teachers, do you have to like keep the doors open, or is that just something that some teachers do because they feel more comfortable?
We do not. Yeah, I think it's just a comfort thing. I know that they did something with the ventilation system to make them more COVID friendly. But yeah, no, that's an optional thing.
I wonder. Okay, so earlier today, in the language building in fourth period, like the entire room was shaking, and it was for like a prolonged period of time. I don't think it was an earthquake, and I'd like sit down, and the desk would be shaking. Maybe I'm crazy, but I guess
Maybe.
everyone else in the class noticed it too. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I wonder if that was the ventilation system.
I've heard some like booming before that seems to be in the ceiling that I assumed was part of the AC or ventilation system. I don't think it's ever shaken anything in my classroom, but different buildings.
That's true.
We have the newest building other than the student center. The 500 building was built my third year teaching, and I think it's still the newest building on campus for classrooms. Student center is obviously the newest overall.
Right.
Actually, how many years have you been teaching?
This is my 17th. Started in 2005.
Oh, okay. I thought you started in the year I was born, but I guess not. It's okay.
Relatively close.
That's so crazy to imagine though. Like before I even existed, there were people who were studying to become teachers. I think
Well,
that's
he
cool.
was already a teacher.
Oh,
No, I
I
was
def-
born in 2004.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah, it's math. Come on. Come on.
Have you been in the same classroom for 17 years?
No, we were in the portables, kind of close to the pool, or I guess the big vat of dirt that was once the pool, for my first 2 years. And then in that process, they were building the 500 building. And then I think it was my third year that we moved in. And I've been in the same classroom since.
so were all the math teachers in portables, or was it?
Mm-hmm. All the math teachers and the auto mechanic class, which I don't think exists anymore.
I don't believe it does.
Although I feel like a lot of people would be interested in that class.
Yeah.
I agree. I was sad to see it go.
Hmm.
I don't know much about cars.
Me
Yeah.
neither.
And that's why you need the class.
That's true.
Oh. Yeah, okay. How often do you have to yell at people to put their masks back up?
I would say twice a period on average,
Oh.
which
Really?
is frustrating in one regard that they're doing it, but frankly, for the number of data points we have, the number of kids over the number of minutes, it's actually less than I thought it would be. It's a lot of the same people, which can be annoying. And I'm very happy it's not blatant, like, I just want to flaunt the rules. I think there are a lot of students that are just trying to maximize their airflow. So, like, instead of pinching the mask over their nose and it just stays there, they have it just kind of hanging off their nose, which I get. Like, I've done this myself, just like at home, like, oh, yeah, I'm getting a lot more airflow. I'm also expelling air in a way that the mask is not doing nearly as much, even if it's technically covering my nose. So
Mhm.
I do understand it. It's a comfort level thing, but yeah, I'm wearing a mask the whole time and I'm talking 100 times more than you are. Get over it, type of thing.
That's true.
It's so weird when people don't have their masks over their nose, because then like in my mind I'm just thinking more about COVID than listening to what they're saying. So I'm like making eye contact with their nose and like just hoping that it'll move itself back up, like the
Yeah.
mask.
And I've had conversations with individuals about, look, he's like, oh, it's just slipping off. It's like, no, I know it's slipping off. It's slipping off because you're really not wearing it appropriately. I get why you're doing it, but you've got to, if you're wearing it in a way that I have to address it this many times, then you're doing it wrong.
That makes
Have
sense.
have you heard anything from the school about the new variants? Because like they're more transmissible and possibly resistant to vaccines. Like, is the school going to do anything about that?
Well, I don't know I mean, we have Delta, obviously. There are
Mhm.
other ones that are variants of concern or interest. I don't know if any of the Mu or any of those have reached the category of, local governments and school districts need to address them. But this is just my own, looking at the news occasionally. I don't know if you have more information that there is a non-Delta variant that is starting to spread in any significant way.
Well, I don't know if it's here yet, but I feel like that's how we all felt when COVID first started.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, it'll never make it to America. Like, come on. And then guess what?
It was like it's only
Yeah.
a week in March, and then we were in for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm generally optimistic about things, but I have every expectation that we could be home on Zoom again in a month, and I just hope that's not the case. But who knows? I think the district just has to take the information as it comes. I think that they've had to make difficult decisions overall about staying home and coming back. There were a lot of teachers and students hesitant to come back in the spring. And I think the superintendent, as far as I experienced, did a fairly good job at saying, we are listening to the federal, state, county guidelines. We're not going to follow them any less or any more than we need to. We're to listen to the experts and not make our own decisions. So I felt that they've done about as good of a job considering everything as possible. I'm sure people disagree with me, but
No,
yeah.
I agree. Like I mean, like just to keep everyone, I mean, I guess as unhappy or happy as they could be, right? I think especially where we live, it's kind of like a place where you get a lot of polarizing viewpoints.
Yes.
So
I
Certainly.
mean, I don't think we can blame the school for this, but I'm bothered by the fact that at lunch there are people who are definitely within 6 feet of each other, all with their masks off. And there's just like half an hour in the day when pretty much no one is wearing a mask and we're all just roaming around.
do people
Like
walk around during lunch?
I mean, to get to where you're gonna sit,
Right, but
yeah,
like they keep their masks on then, right?
that is true.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
outside, it's certainly still possible to transmit things, but I think that you just have to do a cost benefit analysis with everything. And they've said, okay, with 2,000 kids, like just mask off outside is fine. I do find that I have to yell at more kids in the hallway that
Mm.
you're still indoors. And so I actually do more yelling there than I do in my own classroom. And again, I get it. Like you're excited to get outside, you preemptively, you shouldn't. And I still think 95% of students are following it well, but 5% in a large high school is still a lot of kids. So that has been um, annoying to monitor. But again, I expected it to be worse than it was. Maybe as a student, that you are experiencing more of this and more anxiety related to it than I am,
Why
which
are
I would
you
totally
not
understand.
anxious about it, or less, I guess?
Well, I think in terms of the being out amongst students at lunchtime or in the hallways, like I am in my isolated classroom, so I can kind of control that environment more. And so maybe I just experience less of it in general. Being vaccinated is certainly not a catch-all, and especially with Delta and how breakthroughs work, it's not a zero risk situation. But uh, yeah, I guess at this point, with what I experience at school, I am not anxious most of the time, even though it is always on my mind. And I just think those levels of comfort vary from person to person, which I completely get.
Something
Hmm.
that like kind of bothers me is the Commons lunch line, especially since like sometimes there's like like a fifth of the line is like just not wearing their mask, just walking around. I think it's especially dangerous because like every day when you're in the lunch line, you're around new people. It's not like the same people at least where like there's a possibility of it being contained, but it's like a whole bunch of different people every time, so you don't really know if maybe someone has it and they're just giving it to everybody. The
Yeah.
virus, obviously, unknowingly.
Yeah, it's a really
I
good
think
point.
I think the least comfortable I've been is when I've had to be outside in one of the student support outside areas signing students in, and they kind of swarm me to get scanned in.
All
And
right.
I imagine that's maybe how a lot of students feel every day at lunch. Like depending on where they eat, that's just always how the proximity is working with other students. So I could definitely see scenarios where I am less anxious than students just because of where they are every day and where I am. Yeah.
We one of my friends gets a parking spot in the carpool lot. I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but we go out to the carpool like where she parks and we like eat there. It's nice because it's like out of the way. There's not a lot of people walking around you. But when they had closed the parking lots and like we're looking at people's schedules, we had to find a place to eat, and that was kind of hard.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a big campus and there are, very concentrated areas of people. I don't know if it's easy enough to find areas that are sparse enough where you don't feel too densely populated,
Yeah.
like by the 900 buildings or the basketball court slash 800. And I feel like that area campus is always less dense, even though it takes a while to get there.
But I mean, I think with all the negatives that come with just all the COVID potential that we have, it's there has been one surprising upside. Like I'm at least I used to consider myself to be super introverted. So I hated the whole like people were back when we started learning virtually, people were like, I hate that I can't talk to anyone and like I don't have like new friends every year. But I just never understood that. But now that we're back, I feel like I mean, yeah, it is kind of fun to just have an acquaintance by you to talk to.
I actually I actually made friends online because of COVID. Through one of my friends, and so they all go to Cal, I guess, which is kind of funny. But yeah, they all go there. But I met them all online, and I don't know. It's been kind of nice, like talking to them every day. But there's definitely something different about like seeing people walking past people in the hallway and like saying hi or whatever.
I also think it's especially strange when you see someone that you recognize, like you know their name and you've been in their class before, but you don't think about them outside of school or outside of seeing them immediately in front of you. And I feel like that it's a strange moment of recognition when you're like, wow, these people exist and are in my memory, but I've just never recalled them. And outside of school personally, I think it's a little bit saddening that there are memories we've probably just forgotten and don't know that we don't know.
Mm. My oddest experience coming back to school was, teachers, you view students in however way, but you definitely go, oh, that's a very quiet person. That person's very extroverted. And uh, on Zoom, you see their faces, but you don't get the whole picture of the person. There were definitely people that, based on their personalities, I think my mind had subconsciously also assigned a physical appearance. And it's like, oh, that person is very introverted. Like, oh, wow, they're 6'4". Like, not that a tall person can't be introverted, but my mind in developing the story of this human being was like, oh, they're probably an average or small person just because that's how they've presented themselves in their online. Nope, that person is a giant. And
Yeah.
I did not consciously do this, but like meeting people in person, it was an odd bit of cognitive dissonance. It was very entertaining, actually.
Have you ever had students like come up to you to say hi, but you just don't recognize them.
Oh, absolutely. And masks obviously make
Yeah,
that tough.
those do
I also
help.
try to be, early on, if I didn't recognize someone from a previous year, I might just go, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" and shrug it off, even though when a student doesn't hear their name, they know that the teacher forgot their name. Like there's no hiding that. So I usually try to just go, "I'm sorry, what was your name again?" Like I forget so many names. And of course with masks, that is only exacerbated. It's going to happen all this year with my current students. I will forget a ton of people all of the time. That's okay. I'll do my best.
I
I
also
think
think
that's an
part of the reason why it's hard to remember people is because they have the cameras like this sometimes.
Oh yeah, or just
Sure.
no camera at all.
It's like, or it's like during a test, I remember there's like multiple times where people would be asked to put their camera down because it's pretty obvious what they're doing. Just,
Sure.
it's pretty obvious,
Yeah.
But
which
I
is
mean, if the camera is angled so far up, then you kind of have experience with like the mask view, you
Oh,
know?
that's
It's true.
true. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't think of that.
See? But actually, Mr. Allen, for like the whole not knowing a student's name thing,
Mm,
I think your technique is a good solution to just like admit it and be like, "Hey, what's your name?" Because I said hi to a teacher in the hall, and there was like an obvious moment of confusion.
sure.
And it was never addressed. So I later got an email that was like, "Oh, that you? I'm sorry, I didn't know." Like, so
It is probably the best advice for new teachers in general is do not try to cover up your ignorance. I don't know so many things, and I will certainly try things and go, well, maybe this will work. And I'm just talking about like doing math problems too. But if you don't know something, kids will figure that out of any age. So just say, yeah, I'm not really sure. Maybe look that up for me. Let me know. It's definitely the way to go.
it's very mature.
And once you do it like 5 times, you completely get over the embarrassment of being an idiot because we all are from time to time.
Oh, definitely. I teach swim, right? So I get like all these kids every day, and sometimes I'll like recognize their face because they don't need masks in the pool. Um, but or I guess they can't have masks in the pool. That would be bad. That would be a lot more death than COVID. Anyway, and so I guess at first I uh I struggled with names. I've always had trouble with them, but I guess more recently I just ask every time, remind me your name, and it's so much easier. I it's so much easier.
And you learn them faster anyway because they keep telling you their names as opposed to feigning ignorance and not hearing them constantly.
Exactly. I don't.
uh,
Sorry.
hmm?
Go ahead.
I mean, I tend like I don't know, like for me, I nickname a lot of the people that I talk to all the time, and I find those just a lot easier to remember. For example, I call Caden Cadet all the time. Um, I don't know why it helps me to remember, but I feel like once you talk to someone enough, you eventually know their name, regardless of whether you hear it all the time. Um, but also about Zoom, I loved being able to see someone's name every time they talked. Because then, like by the end of the year, or just like the first month or something, I could name everyone's first and last name. But now I hate the confusion. I hate not knowing everyone's name.
It is true. Going from a very distinct face for those that had their cameras on with a name under it to no name in a larger classroom with masks. That's a big jump for the name game. Big disadvantage.
So my teachers require name tags now. I think that's smart.
Still?
That's pretty smart. What do you mean still?
Well, I meant like okay, so Mr. Kinley, I'm in his calculus class and he had us do name tags for like the first 2 weeks and then like we didn't need them anymore, I guess. I don't know. I don't think he knows everybody's name cuz some people just don't participate. And it's hard for him, I guess. But I don't know. Did your teachers like still require them like a month into school?
Yes, one of
No.
my teachers, and I foresee it happening until like maybe the second semester. I mean, I'm okay with it. If a teacher wants to know my name, that's great. That's even better.
Whatever
I love my
helps
name.
them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
None of
funny.
my teachers, I don't think,
Really?
ever required name tags. And it was especially funny because, I'm sure most of you know, or all of you know Mr. Getty.
Yeah.
But like
Mhm.
when he would, when he forgot someone's name, as we talked about earlier, he'd just say "you" in a very like, I don't know,
The
very
Getty voice, yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
No, I
the
get that.
Getty voice.
Yeah.
Did
Uh,
was like was the you like was he knowingly
No, I don't.
like
I think he just forgot their
that
names.
was
To be
just
honest,
his way of That's so funny.
oh no. I see he knows my name, that's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I guess okay, I went to his like student support twice and then he finally checked like the third time and he's like, "Wait, you're Caden." But he had like input my name because I don't have an ID card. He input my like student ID, said my name, and then it still didn't occur to him until like the third time he realized, "Oh, you're Caden from my class last year." So, that was interesting.
I suppose we'll all adapt at some point. Maybe.
Maybe one day,
Yeah, one day.
hopefully, right?
I just had a question. I was wondering if you could go over it. I was wondering what the lore behind the stairs of the 200 is.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So the 200 building, the humanities building, I think, right? It's okay. Everyone goes like up and down the stairs, and yeah, it's usually pretty packed because all of the classes are actually filled like during some periods, and like you just walk, you try and get up the stairs. It's hard enough already, right? And people are coming down, but everyone's like unmasked, and I wouldn't really have too much of a problem with it if there were less people. But it's just everyone packed together in like a sardine can, just trying to get down the stairs, and you're like brushing shoulders with people and stuff, and I just hate that.
That's not the only staircase where that happens. I mean,
I guess I don't take any other stairs.
I mean, no, no, you're right though. There's also the not just in the 200s building, but something I've noticed is that almost every single building has such tiny doors, and you're expecting huge hordes of people to fit through them in the span of less than 6 minutes. And is that why it's called a vomitorium? Right? It's like you have people going in, it's like spewing out. That's how I feel. Okay. And every single there's like the whole like the backpacks hitting each other thing. I can't like slip past people anymore because I'm like 2 people wide with this backpack on. I yeah, I don't like it. Human contact is I've always been uncomfortable around it even before COVID, so that's not great.
Something I don't like is the 4-minute break we have between
So
first and
weird.
third period.
Our brunch time. Yeah, I don't know how, like especially because I guess it's less safe to eat while walking, right? Hello.
Who's
Hi,
that?
baby.
For
Oh my
audio
god,
listeners, Mr. Allen is showing us his dog. She is very cute.
she is the
She is
best.
sleepy.
Oh my god.
I also miss brunch. Yes, that has been. I did not think I would miss brunch.
So
It
sad.
is very, very sorely missed.
Yeah.
I also
Maybe
miss this.
student support being moved the first and second will help a little bit.
Oh
If you do
yeah.
that, they're still contemplating that. The issue with that is that you can't do makeup tests if you do it there, which is
Oh.
definitely a a big reason for student support. So it may move, but yeah.
What's the logic behind that? Like, why can't
Well,
you
you
do a
can go
makeup?
into lunch for 20 minutes, so you can make up like a normal 50, 55-minute test.
Oh,
Instead of 30
With
minutes, right?
yeah, you can't make up most tests in a 30-minute student support. You
Right.
can sometimes, but it's a rarity.
Are there people who just casually give up lunch to take tests? I mean, I did that 10th grade. Okay.
When
Yeah,
else
I mean-
would you take the test though, right? You're just kind of required to.
during class, but then you're missing some lecture with a lot of
Right.
students don't mind, but many do not want to, which I understand.
Mm, makes sense. Do you guys fill
I
out
mean,
the survey?
I did.
I did, yeah. I
Oh,
said I don't really care. to be
Yeah.
honest.
I actually didn't consider makeup tests, so that is a good thing to think about.
true.
Well, it's
Whoops.
too late to change it now.
Why did they want to change it in the first place?
Because people were leaving like during
lot of
student
people are leaving.
support.
How is moving it up gonna stop that?
Well, they still
Like,
have
'cause
their other period to attend.
They're leaving
Oh.
like for the day.
Oh.
It's not just a matter
Oh,
of leaving
yeah.
and then coming back.
Hmm.
Also, actually, I myself did this once with a couple of friends, but we left
Oh.
campus and then we went to like Ike's Sandwiches or something during the super long thing. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody as we post it on the internet. Public
Mhm.
YouTube video.
Okay.
That's
It's a
okay.
secret.
Do we
I
have a
mean-
statutory do we have a what not statutory?
Oh,
Oh,
no, we
yeah.
can take we can take your diploma away 30 years in the future.
Oh,
Don't worry,
that's-
that thing stays for life.
Oh,
There's no statute of limitations on ditching.
that's nice. Well,
Sorry, Tim.
I guess we'll just have to blur his face and garble his voice.
Yeah,
And
all
every
for a
mention of his name.
sandwich. Mm-hmm. Tim Tam. Okay.
Don't worry, it counts as minimal editing, right?
That's true. Yeah. Well, now it's maximum.
All the way.
I guess I
Okay.
have to start that soon then. But yeah, that was our podcast. Thanks for coming, everybody. This was Access Point Podcast. Thanks to our guests for joining us today, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.